In this video, I'm going back to try water mixable oil paints. I'm going to be using 6x8 panels that I've already coated with some acrylic paint as kind of a base coat. For people who didn't know, water mixable oils are the same as regular oil paints. They've been changed on a molecular level, so you can thin the paints and clean your brushes using water. The first thing I did was make a mixture of French ultramarine and raw umber, and I used that to sketch on the drawing. The drawing is based off of a photo I saw of a hillside, and I liked the shadows that were striping across it. And it only had one tree, and I thought, well, I'd like to have more trees, so I'm just going to add in more trees. I primed the canvas with orange because there are some beautiful clouds in this photo that have red and orange tones to them. And I thought, better than a white canvas to have some of those warm tones coming through. The colors I'll be using are raw umber, phthalo green, French ultramarine, cadmium red hue, yellow ochre, lemon yellow, and titanium white. So the sky at the top will be lighter, and then down by the horizon it will be a little bit more of purple tones in the blue. I think that will highlight the clouds, and I'm not being that worried about the coverage. I don't want to overpaint things, and I want some of the orange tone of the base coat to come through, and that will add to the warmth in the clouds. Don't worry about covering up your original sketch. You can still see where the dark tones are, and when you go back in with the other layers, they'll appear again. Now there's a lot of green in this painting, and I'll be mixing most of it using the yellow and the yellow ochre mixed with the blue. But I'll be adding in cadmium red hue as a complementary color because it makes the green more realistic and less artificial looking, especially when I use the phthalo green blue shade. Now this is where my inexperience with oil paints is going to show. I'm going to pretty much overwork the whole grass area as I'm painting it, because I'll be mixing colors and they'll just keep blending together. And so I'll have to clean off my brush and then go back in and try to straighten it out. And eventually I figure it all out, but this is all part of the learning process. This is also part of the reason why I'm doing this on a 6x8 canvas board, because I started to do a much larger oil painting. And part of it turned out great, and part of it I was overworking things and it just got muddy and I got discouraged. Starting with a smaller canvas size is a good idea because it's not that big an investment. And so if things don't work out, you don't feel the pressure, and then it's a lot more enjoyable as you're learning the process. I was losing some of the contrast between the dark shadows and the sun-hit areas of the hill, and I tried to lighten things up, and that didn't work, so I just blended the stuff together and took a couple of steps backwards and tried again. The biggest difference between oil paints and acrylics is the drying time. The amount of time you have to blend colors with oil paints is wonderful, but if you're used to acrylics drying quickly, sometimes you just overpaint things and blend things you didn't intend to blend. At this point, I decide that rather than overwork one area, maybe I should skip around in the painting. So I'm going to add in the trees and then work on some clouds and then come back to adding some deeper shadows and brighter highlights on the hill. After I get the shadows on the trees, it's time to add some of the warmth to the clouds. And this is where I figure out that the best blending tool I have isn't my brush, it's my finger. Using my fingers allowed me to blend the colors and to get very soft edges on the clouds. The final steps were just warming up some of the highlights on the hills and adding some highlights to the trees. I'm happy with the way it turned out, and I think as I'm learning, going with a smaller size painting is a better idea.
You can support my channel by subscribing so YouTube will share my videos with more people. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you ring that bell, you'll be notified every time I post a video. Thank you for watching.